I'm going to be speaking about the human impacts on Earth's oceans. Harmful anthropogenic activities. The word anthropogenic comes from the root word anthrop, meaning man, and ogenic means produced by or generated from. Some of these harmful activities that humans inflict on our oceans include pollutants and persistent solids, chemical contamination, and human exploitation also causes a big effect on ecosystems and marine species. Pollutants and persistent solids. Accumulation of persistent solids and waste happens when individuals or companies dispose of their waste or trash into the ocean, the streams, or rivers that lead to the ocean. These solids eventually accumulate into gyres in the ocean, which are basically almost like a vortex that collects all these pollutants, making a big mass of trash. In the Pacific, there's actually a patch of garbage known as the Great Garbage Patch. Its size is really hard to determine because it's a bunch of little particles that are spaced out. So we can't calculate the actual entire mass of this garbage patch, but it is a significant amount of garbage that just floats in the Pacific. Entanglement and strangulation. Marine species get entangled and strangulated in plastic debris such as plastic bottles or drift nets from fishing. In this picture you can see there's a turtle that was caught up in fishing equipment into a fishing net. Ended up drowning, I'm assuming, or dying, I guess, being strangulated from the net. Plastic marine debris is a major concern to ocean ecosystems. Plastic deteriorates really slowly. Through its deterioration process, plastic debris bioaccumulates and biomagnifies in the ecosystems and species. Basically, this means as the plastic particles break down, they're still there, but they accumulate in these ecosystems. Then fish or turtles or other animals come along, they'll eat these plastic bits and they'll accumulate inside their intestines because they can't digest them. Biomagnification basically means that these plastic pieces are going to move up through the food chain as predators eat the smaller animals that are consuming plastic parts. This causes a problem because plastic actually releases toxic chemicals as it biodegrades in the ocean. Therefore, this could cause toxicity within food chain and higher levels up. Eventually, it could affect humans.
Derek, how true is this through your research? They say that our oceans are dying.
This is a very true statement. With all of these different effects, they're all affecting different components of the oceans. There's a lot of toxic components that are being developed with human activity, and this is damaging to all sorts of marine life and humans. Let's go back for a second. Some materials that bioaccumulate and biomagnify are PCBs, which are polychlorinated biphenyls. Some of these PCBs are used in fire retardants, insulation, and when they are accumulated in marine species, they can impair reproduction. PAHs, which are polynuclear atomic hydrocarbons, which are found in petroleum products. These PAHs contain carcinogens, which are harmful to marine species also. Heavy metals such as mercury, copper, lead, zinc, nickel, these all bioaccumulate and affect reproduction. And cyanide, which is a destructive means of fishing that is used for fisheries. It's how we overexploit marine species. Chemical contaminants. Fertilizer runoff is one large issue that is occurring.
Let me stop you for a second. In the future, do not put the HTTP underneath that.
Okay, I wasn't
You
sure.
would, okay, you put it at the end, graphic cited, all right? And then you put it, if you want to do this, put an in-text citation, just like we do, okay, in MLA format. Get rid of that. Okay, go ahead.
Fertilizers from agriculture run off into watersheds. A watershed is basically the area that leads to a specific outlet or body of water. So streams, tributaries, that all lead to the Pacific would be a Pacific watershed. So the fertilizers all run through the tributary streams, eventually leading to the ocean. The harmful aspects of fertilizers are fertilizers promote algal reproduction. And this can be damaging because a lot of algae are toxic. So when those algae are consumed by fish and other animals, it then creates those fish toxic, results in those fish becoming toxic. Cataclysmic oil spills is another chemical contaminant that is plaguing our ocean. Though they don't happen frequently, when they do, it is a very drastic, rehabilitation process, and rescuing these animals takes a lot of work. It needs to happen immediately, or else the oil will eventually kill the animals that are exposed to the oil. Two of the biggest oil spills in history are the Exxon Valdez oil spill, which happened on the Alaskan coast in 1989, and the most recent one is the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010. Hydrocarbons. Occurring naturally and anthropogenically, combustion and petrogenesis are the two major sources of hydrocarbons in marine ecosystems. Combustion and petrogenesis are two processes, are two processes used in the oil industry. Having a large amount of hydrocarbons in our ocean can be damaging because it acts as a greenhouse effect. So hydrocarbons such as methane will trap in the heat, causing a global warming effect, and this can cause major climate change and affect ecosystems in some way.
That's 3 minutes.
Okay. Carbon pollution. Carbon pollution is basically an excess of carbon emissions that accumulate in our atmosphere. Yearly, 10 billion tons of carbon dioxide is absorbed by floating phytoplankton. Humans emit about 8 billion tons a year. So that's roughly 80% of the carbon emissions in our atmosphere absorbed into the ocean. Human exploitation. Overfishing is a huge problem. When humans target a single species and extract them from their ecosystems, it depletes the population of those species, causing endangerment of specific animals. Also, another develop on coastal areas, they build their, I suppose, buildings, and they're right on the coast, so they kick up a lot of sediment. This sediment blocks sunlight from reaching lower depths in the ocean, and this lack of sunlight promotes harmful algal blooms, which are toxic, as I mentioned.
One minute.
Destructive fishing techniques. Humans have used cyanide, which is a toxic chemical, and they've also used techniques such as using large nets draped across the floor of the ocean to catch large amounts of animals. These fishing techniques can destroy vegetation on the seafloor, along with trapping and strangling other animals from fishing equipment that was left behind.
Well, we've got to go to the solution. You only get 10 minutes.
No, that's fine.
Okay, well, quickly, go ahead and wrap it up.
Like I said, harmful algal blooms are one idea that is posing a huge threat. With a large amount of algal blooms, you get these red tides, as you can see in the picture. As pretty as it is, it's very harmful because this is all toxic. Eventually, the toxicity moves up through the food chain and can eventually affect us.
Okay, very good. So question, and keep the film rolling. Weston, what's the question?
I was just wondering, is there any one particular ocean that's worse than
What I found out in my research is, though there is the Great Garbage Patch in the Pacific, most of these issues that are observed in the Pacific are also observed in the other oceans. Initially, I had started my research solely on the Pacific Ocean, but once I found out that these impacts are basically the same for the rest of the oceans, I kind of generalized my topic.
Yes, Naya.
What are organizations doing to save this challenge?
Organizations such as NOAA and other government agencies have helped put into place bans on illegal sewage disposal, basically dumping into the oceans. There's also a regulation on carbon emissions for freighters. Limiting carbon emissions can help stop carbon pollution and over-acidification in our oceans. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
How does plastic and plastic packaging affect fish?
Could you repeat that?
Plastic out of the plastic and plastic packaging?
How is it affecting seafood? How are the pollution, the plastics and everything
Oh, okay.
affecting the quality of seafood?
Basically, when plastic breaks down, it gives off toxic chemicals that are inside the plastic when it's made. Over time, these chemicals leach from the plastic into the ocean, eventually into the animals that are around these plastics or that digest these plastics, and those toxins enter their system and the tissue, and then eventually we eat them to be harmful for us.
Okay, very nice, very nice.